Yo, what's going on, everybody? You are watching Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman, and coming up on today's show, could the Vikings be trading for Derek Carr this offseason? We'll talk about it on the front half of today's show. Interesting reports coming out there. And then also, Kirk Cousins, could he be returning to Minnesota? Dianna Russini had an interesting report on that front. But before we dive into it, shout out to the man of the hour and the man of the NFL season, Sam Darnold. I think this year, from a Vikings fan perspective, was truly the worst you could have written up. Like, Sam Darnold leaves in free agency, he signs with the Seattle Seahawks, and he goes and wins a Super Bowl the first year. I mean, the only thing that could have made it worse is him winning Super Bowl MVP, or maybe the Seahawks playing the Steelers in the Super Bowl and it being Darnold versus Aaron Rodgers. But truly, this season, from a Vikings fan's perspective, you saw your team, especially your quarterback, J.J. McCarthy, struggle, look horrible for most of the season. Then you see Sam Darnold go on a great playoff run where I also thought was so interesting about Darnold's run in the postseason. We always talk about Darnold being like a big play, big risky type of quarterback where it's like, yeah, he'll take the top off the defense. He'll make some big time throws, but also turn the ball over, and he'll have some what the hell are you doing plays. This postseason, he didn't have a single play like that. Like yesterday, he was almost more of just a game manager. In the divisional round against the Niners, he was a game manager. Like, I think we have seen him just not only go from a top 10 quarterback in the league, but a guy who can do a bunch of different things. If you want him to go toe for toe and get in a duel with Matthew Stafford in the NFC title game, he can do that. If you want him to play more game manager football, he can do that, as we saw in the Super Bowl. And I think this was the biggest mistake in Vikings history, because what would we do to get Sam Darnold this offseason, seeing what we just saw? I mean, we would probably give up a first-round pick, maybe multiple first-round picks. Maybe give this guy $50 million per year, and you had him in your building. It was truly one of the biggest mistakes any NFL team has ever made. So I'm very happy for Sam Darnold. I mean, he stuck it to this Vikings organization, and I think Sam Darnold winning a Super Bowl might be the closest this Vikings franchise ever gets to winning a Super Bowl. So you guys let me know. Is the biggest mistake in Vikings history? Give me a Y for yes or an N for no. All right, now let's reel back in and talk some Minnesota Vikings football here and talk about the Derek Carr situation. So Ian Rapoport tweeting out early Sunday morning at 5:08 a.m. saying intriguing quarterback option to watch this offseason as Derek Carr could unretire for the right situation and coaching staff per the insiders. This is exactly what Rap had to say, saying the Saints still hold Carr's rights, though Tyler Shuck's impressive rookie season, the immaculate end to Carr's time in New Orleans, and the way the sides worked through any salary cap issues add up to his told contract being an unlikely hurdle in the process. The Saints could ask for a compensation a trade, though this price surely wouldn't be an unreasonable ask for a player who has no future in New Orleans. Carr doesn't seem to be actively chasing a return to the NFL. He's indicated he has enjoyed spending time with family and taking on various projects, but he surely knows the interest is there, and sources have said the right situation and coaching staff could lure Carr back onto the field. So I'm assuming from a draft pick perspective here, it'll only take the Vikings or any team training for Derek Carr probably a 6th or a 7th round pick. I don't think the Saints are going to hold him, hostage, be like, oh, if you want our guy Derek Carr, we have his rights. You got to give us a 2nd round pick. I don't think that's going to be the case. I honestly think the trade will most likely be a 6th, 7th round late pick swap. And also, the contract's going to get torn up. Like, I think Carr, once he gets traded to a new team, he'll be at a brand new contract. So that adds an interesting wrinkle in for the Minnesota Vikings. Like, with all this talk about, is it Kirk Cousins? Is it Kyler Murray? And now you add a guy like Derek Carr into the fold, where he could be in a situation where you could just pretty much say, hey, Derek, what if you just come play on a 1-year, $5 million deal? I would have some interest in that. Now, Derek Carr, he's probably just a slightly – no, he is Kirk Cousins to me. He is the same exact quarterback. Like, in his career, he's played for some bad organizations like the Raiders and the Saints. I mean, going 77 and 92, 41,000 passing yards, completion percentage of 65%. Yards per attempt 7.1, and a really solid touchdown and interception ratio. So he has had some success over the past couple of his career throwing the football. But this past season, or the most recent season that we've seen him play back in 2024, in 10 games played, he was 5-5, had a solid touchdown and interception ratio of 15-5. But again, Derek Carr, in my opinion, doesn't really move the needle for me, and that's why he's in the same bucket as Kirk Cousins in terms of options for the Vikings at quarterback, where it's like, yes, Derek Carr, is he an upgrade right now over J.J. McCarthy? Absolutely. Nobody can deny that. But is he taking the Vikings over the hump? Is he the one that's going to get this team, to the Super Bowl, just like what we saw with Sam Darnold and the Seahawks? Is he going to take them to the NFC Championship game? I have my doubts there. It just screams if Derek Carr goes to the Minnesota Vikings, a mid quarterback with a mid organization, it screams 10-7 and a brutal first round playoff loss. That's just what it feels like. I think it would be an upgrade in the short term, but I still think the Vikings, you're in a position right now where you need to take a risk. You either need to be 4-13 next season or 13-4. Don't go with these middle of the pack options because you have a top 5 defense. So go take that risk on a quarterback. Go take a risk on a Kyler. Take a risk on the guy that's already in your building in J.J. McCarthy and him developing. So the same can be said about Derek Carr, as we're saying about like Kirk Cousins, where it's just like you would just stay in the middle of the pack with either of those guys at quarterback. But what would you do? Would you trade for Derek Carr? Give me a T for trade. Give me a P for pass. You guys let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. I would probably say no, but if he's coming in as a backup option, like I would have some interest there. But again, I don't really know if I want Derek Carr on the Minnesota Vikings whatsoever. So you guys let me know your thoughts down below. T for trade, P for pass. Now let me tell you guys about today's presenting sponsor, and that is Factor Meals. Now if you guys could head to factormeals.com/VikingsChat50 off and use promo code VikingsChat50 off. We'll hook you guys up with 50% off your first Factor box plus free breakfast for 1 year. Now, if you guys want to eat better but have zero time and zero energy to make it happen, Factor doesn't ask you to meal prep or file recipes. It just removes the entire problem. 2 minutes, real food, done. You're not failing at eating healthy. You're failing at having those 3 extra hours every single night. Factor is made by chefs, designed by dietitians, and delivered to your door. You heat it for 2 minutes and eat. Lean proteins, colorful vegetables, whole food ingredients, healthy fats, the stuff you'd make if you had the time. And they also have no refined sugars, no artificial sweeteners, and no refined seed oils. I also have over 100 rotating meals every week. High protein, calorie smart, Mediterranean, GLP-1 support, and ready-to-eat salads. So head to factormeals.com/VikingsChat50 off and use promo code VikingsChat50 off to get 50% off your first Factor box plus free breakfast for 1 year. This offer is only valid for new Factor customers with code and qualifying auto-renewing subscription purchase. Make healthier eating easy with Factor. All right, so we got some more on the Vikings quarterback situation, this time coming in from Dianna Russini, who, I think after everything that has unfolded this past year, I think Dianna, she's got some good connection in the Vikings organization. I know we always tried to, rag on her last year saying she doesn't know what she's talking about, but after it's all played out, she does have some good sources within the Vikings. And recently, she was talking about Kirk Cousins, saying, speaking of those Vikings, one league source speculated that Cousins could be an option out there, given his history with Kevin O'Connell and Minnesota's desire to bring in competition for a young J.J. McCarthy. Now, her saying one league source speculated that, Kirk Cousins could be an option for the Minnesota Vikings. Yeah, I think I could have reported that. Somebody watching the show could have reported that. We all know Kirk Cousins is an option for the Vikes. And this just, again, screams to all roads leading back to this Vikings organization going 10-7 with Kirk Cousins and a first-round exit. I'm out on Kirk. I don't think the Vikings should have any interest in bringing him back. Yes, he is a fine quarterback. He is a better option than at this present moment than what J.J. McCarthy is. If there was a football game tomorrow, Kirk Cousins is way better than J.J. McCarthy. But who says a 23-year-old can't develop over months throughout the offseason? Like, if you are going to take a risk on a quarterback, have it either be a guy like J.J. McCarthy who still has really, really high potential, but also his floor is incredibly low, or go out there and get a Kyler Murray. Get aggressive. Don't just go with the safe option, which Kirk Cousins is the safest option out there. He's also 38 years old, just tore his Achilles a couple years ago. I just don't really see the upside with Kirk whatsoever. And also, from JJ's side of things, what you said, the Vikings do bring him back. And it's like a old school quarterback competition. JJ should be able to beat out Kirk. Like, there is no doubt in my mind that JJ McCarthy, if this offseason goes the way it should for him and him developing into becoming a solid franchise quarterback, he should be able to beat out Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is fine. He is probably the 23rd best quarterback in the NFL. But JJ should be able to beat him out. Like, that. So, like, from, like, JJ's side of things and from Kirk's side of things, like, if Kirk is agreeing to come to the Minnesota Vikings, I don't think it's a situation where it's like, hey, Kirk, you're our no-doubt starter. I think it's from, both those quarterbacks thinking, like, I got a legit chance to start, but I need to go beat the other one out. I think it would be like an old school, classic quarterback battle. But if you're J.J. McCarthy, you should be able to beat out 38-year-old Kirk Cousins. You're 23 years old. You're more athletic. You have a more live arm. You should be able to develop into at least just in week one next year being slightly better than what Kirk Cousins was this past season. But, some bad news here. Dianna Russini also pretty much said that there is no chance the Bengals trade Joe Burrow, which we all pretty much knew. But she also said Minnesota may not be able to land Burrow, but the Vikings will be looking to bring in a veteran quarterback after a disappointing 2025 season at the position. So it's sounding like the early reporting right now in the offseason is saying the Vikings are going to go with the safe veteran option. So it kind of falls into the Joe Flacco's, the Mariotas, the Kirk Cousins, Derek Carr now thrown into the fold. Maybe in a guy like Geno Smith, but I don't know if they consider like Kyler Murray a veteran option. 27 years old, has a lot of experience in the NFL. I would prefer a guy like Kyler Murray just because of the ceiling that Kyler brings compared to guys like Kirk Cousins and Marcus Mariota. So, listen, this whole offseason is going to be interesting for the Vikes. There's no doubt about it. Like, we're going to get reports every single week, be like, oh, this guy's connected to the Vikings. This quarterback's connected to the Vikings. It just still feels like all roads lead back to Kirk Cousins and this Vikings team going 10-7 next season. You guys let me know. No, you guys let me know. Let me know if you watched this entire video. And if you guys made it to the end, give me those scores down below in the comment section. Also, hit that subscribe button on your way out. Closing in here on 70,000 subs on YouTube. So hit that subscribe button today. Catch you guys next time. Let's go Vikes.